continue our work in reducing our costs and generating new revenue to lessen the tax burden on our residents. Over the next few weeks, as we work toward adoption of the budget, we will continue to assess each program and expense and seek out ways to increase revenue to ensure we are meeting the needs of our residents. With that, I ask the County CFO, Joe Peretti, to introduce the 2023 budget.
Thank you, Director. Good evening. The budget process is a huge undertaking. We started this process last August and working until this introduction. So I'd like to thank a lot of people. I'd like to thank the Director, Commissioner Copeland, and the rest of the board, the department heads, office directors, and my staff that was involved in the process, particularly Sam Abbas, our budget director, and Gabe Cookie, our controller. Having said that, let me introduce the budget for 2023. Expenses. Our salary and wages are $149.3 million, an increase of $3.7 million, and that's in line with the negotiated wage increases. Other expenses, $403.4 million, an increase of $8.1 million, and that's mainly contractual obligation and cost of living increases. Grants, $62.5 million, up $21 million. Considerable increase. We'll go over the particulars in a little bit, but I just want to note that that's offset by revenue. Excluding the grants, is a 2.2% increase, and let me say that's without cutting any services. The total gross operating budget is $615.3 million. On the revenue side, our practice is not to use any surplus in our budget. However, this year, we put $6.5 million to cover COVID-related costs, and we're looking to recoup those costs through the Rescue Act funding later on this year. Operating revenues, $27 million, an increase of 2.9. Special item revenue, $60 million, decrease of $13 million. That's mainly due to a $10 million revenue component that we received from the Rescue Act last year. And our grants, once again, offset by expenses, $60.9 million, for a total revenue of $154.4 million. So when you reduce the revenue from the expenses, the net to be raised by taxation is $460.9 million, an increase of $14.3 million, and that's in line with recent increases in taxation. So that's a big picture. Now, to give us detail, I'll turn it over to Nick Clancy, our treasurer.
Good evening. Thank you, Joe, for starting our presentation off. I will pick up with Middlesex's 2023 revenue key drivers. County clerk of $13.2 million for an annual increase of $600,000. This is a value that has been slowly restoring itself to traditional levels since being dramatically impacted by the pandemic. Custody charges of state inmates for just under $3 million. This is an annual increase of $500,000. This is attributed to the recent overflow of state inmates that are now residing at county facilities. Interest on investments and deposits, $925,000, an annual increase of $844,000. This is a figure we actually project to be much greater due to raising interest rates, but due to New Jersey budget law, are limited to the amount we've received in the prior year. Middlesex will also have two noteworthy special items of revenue. We will be receiving 2 years' worth of funding from the New Jersey Department of Transportation in the amount of $22.4 million, an increase of $11.2. This funding will be directly allocated to the maintenance and improvement of the county road system. Secondly, we will also be awarded from the state $17 million related to the Middlesex's Community Innovation and Opportunity Strategic Investment Plan. This will be broken into two main components: $8.5 million for the Middlesex County Student Center and $8.5 million for the Destination Athletic Complex. On the opposite side of the spectrum for our budget, we have a number of operating expense key drivers. The first main increase we will see is in the Capital Improvement Fund. We have an annual raise of $8 million for a total budget line item of $75 million. This is a line item that Middlesex utilizes for capital expenditures without raising debt. As mentioned in our previous slide, we'll also be allocating $17 million for the CIO Strategic Investment Plan. This is a portion of Ordinance 466, an item on tonight's agenda that will appropriate $85 million in funding towards Middlesex College. The last increase of expenditures noted are mandatory items, such as pensions and FICA. Reasons such as our net wage increase, and this group will collectively see an increase of $2.1 million. Notable decreases for 2023 will include our debt service in the amount of $3.3 million. Tied to our pay-as-you-go strategy, reasons for this decrease will be covered further in depth in future slides. Our last notable decrease will be to our group insurance plan for employees. Our Middlesex County Joint Health Insurance Fund has continuously been implementing wellness initiatives, innovative prescription plans, and overall improving operations. This should collectively save us $1 million. One of the bigger highlights of this year's budget is the beginning balance of our surplus fund. For fiscal year 2023, we will see a monumental achievement of reaching a surplus level of over $100 million, a $12.6 million increase from the prior year, and a threshold that Middlesex had not yet achieved. Since embarking on a mission since 2010 to restore surplus levels, Middlesex has increased our fund balance by approximately $90 million, just shy of 800%. This fund balance also meets the suggested surplus ratio set forth by bond rating agencies. With a balance of $100 million, we achieve a 17% ratio and further strengthen our AAA bond rating. As mentioned a couple times, we have in our annual budget for our capital improvement fund $75 million. This is an annual revolving line item utilized for general capital expenditures such as infrastructure, education, technology, public safety, and business development needs. The Capital Improvement Fund has allowed us to invest in greater than $500 million over the course of the last 10 years. Just as important as the results of investing in our community, this funding shows Middlesex's commitment to reducing our overall net debt and our reduction of our annual debt service payments. Through the deliberate transition from conventional bond issuances, CIP funding appropriated in the operating budget reduces administration costs, the need to incur interest on borrowed funding, and the carrying of debt year over year. As a result, you will see a direct correlation in our trend analysis of our net debt over that same 10-year period. Once again, all revolving around that $75 million and the continuous buildup of our capital improvement fund, we have seen a dramatic reduction in our net debt over the last decade. This is exceptional, as the natural progression for any government agency, especially net debt over the course of any extended period of time, is increasing total year over year. Through 10 consecutive years of decreases, Middlesex has gone from over $700 million in net debt to just under $400 million. Overall reduction of $300 million, or 43%. This $400 million is a number to be proud of, and a number that we as a county have not been at in over a 20-year time span. When looking at a similar trend analysis for our annual debt service, we will see a very similar trend. Highlighting fiscal year 2015, we see an all-time high of $90 million. Fast forwarding to 2023, we have seen a reduction of 40%, or an annual savings of $40 million between principal and interest payments. With our continuing effort to reduce conventional bond issuances, we look to continue this trend and reach the same benchmark as we did with our net debt and match 10 consecutive years of reductions. One last core way of looking at how we've managed our debt in a much better fashion is through the percentage of the overall budget. By reducing the percentage allocated to debt service, we grow the ability to budget for other services and the reduction of taxation. In 2015, we saw a debt service ratio of 22%. In 2020, 14%. For this year, 2023, we'll see a 9%. And by 2026, we strive to have to equal to or less than 5% of our annual budget allocated for debt service. Meaning that 5 cents for every dollar will be going towards debt service payments. That concludes our 2023 budget introduction presentation.
Any questions?
Any questions from the commissioner? Very nice presentation. Thank you both. At this time, I'd like to open up public discussions on Resolution 23-236. Anybody have any comments? Seeing none? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Is there a motion to adopt the resolution? Roll call?
County Commissioner Escobar Barber?
Yes.
County Commissioner
Yes.
Kenny? County Commissioner Coppell?
Yes.
County Commissioner McCollum?
Yes.
County Commissioner Nara?
Yes.
County Commissioner Tamara?
Yes.
County Commissioner Director Rios?
Yes. The clerk will read the summary of the proposed budget.
Total general appropriations for 2023 is $650,315,026. For 2022 is $582,615,329. Less anticipated revenues for 2023 is $154,416,525. For 2022, $136,105,009. Amount to be raised by taxation, county purchase tax for 2023 is $460,898,501. For 2022 is $510,320.
Okay, is there a motion to introduce the 2023 budget?
Second.
Roll call?
County Commissioner Escobar Barber?
Yes.
County Commissioner
Yes.
Kenny? County Commissioner
Yes.
Coppell? County Commissioner McCollum?
Yes.
County Commissioner Nara?
Yes.
County Commissioner Tamara? County Commissioner Director Rios?
Yes. The clerk will read the county budget notice.
Annual budget of the County of Middlesex for the fiscal year 2023. Be it resolved that the following statements of revenues and appropriations shall constitute the county budget for the year 2023. Be it further resolved that a summary of said budget be published in the Home News Tribune in the issue of February 25th, 2023. The Board of County Commissioners of the County of Middlesex does hereby approve the following as the budget for the year 2023. Notice is hereby given that the budget and tax resolution was approved by the Board of Commissioners of the County of Middlesex on February 16, 2023. A hearing on the budget and tax resolution will be held at the County Administration Building, 75 Thayer Street, New Brunswick, New Jersey, on March 16, 2023, at 7 o'clock p.m., at which time and place objections to said budget and tax resolution for the year 2023 may be presented by taxpayers or other.
Do you have correspondence?
Each commissioner has been provided with a list of correspondence received by the clerk's office since our last meeting. This correspondence was kept on file in the office of the clerk of the board for reference.
Is there a motion to accept the correspondence?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Minutes for approval.
Minutes of February 2nd, 2023 at 7 o'clock p.m.
Second.
Roll call?
County Commissioner Escobar Barber?
Yes.
County
Yes.
Commissioner Kenny? County Commissioner Coppell?
Yes.
County Commissioner McCollum?
Present for the same.
County Commissioner Nara?
Yes.
County Commissioner Tamara? County Commissioner Director Rios?
Yes. Okay, we have ordinances, we have public hearing and final adoption.
Notice of this public hearing was published in the Home News Tribune on January 24th, 2023. This public hearing was authorized at a meeting of the Board of County Commissioners held on February 2nd, 2023.
Clerk will read ordinance number 23-001.
Ordinance 23-001, guaranteed ordinance securing the Middlesex County Improvement Authorities, County of Middlesex Guaranteed Revenue Bonds, New Jersey Health and Life Science Exchange, H1 Project, Series 2023, in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $190 million, and authorizing a public hearing to be held Thursday, February 16, 2023, at 7 o'clock p.m., authorizing publication thereof, and determining certain other matters in connection therewith.
Okay, at this time, I declare the public hearing open. Anyone has any comments? this ordinance 23-001.
Good evening, Commissioners. Charlie Cradaville, editor of New Brunswick Today. We're here in New Brunswick. I wanted to understand why the county's getting involved in this project and just the basics on what it is, when it'll be completed, and where this $190 million is going to come from.
First of all, this is a good project for not only Middlesex County, for the region. This is a partnership between so many entities that it's for the betterment of health and welfare for so many, for education. And maybe Mr. Palladino could answer, make some comments in reference to this project and what Mr. Craddock's questions were.
So first off, the project is scheduled to be completed the first quarter of 2026. Middlesex County's role as a guarantor of this project is there are four series of bonds. There's taxable and tax-exempt bonds. There's 10-year bonds and 30-year bonds. Have already been. There are how we are monetizing $271 million worth of tax credits that the New Jersey Economic Development Authority has authorized for this project. They've already been sold to Citibank. So Citibank is the source of revenue, and the county is allowing us to use their credit, so we get a AAA credit rating from these bonds that will be able to monetize and raise more equity for the project. The second part is the New Jersey Innovation Hub bonds. They're 30-year bonds, and they're both taxable and tax-exempt bonds. And the role that those bonds are being paid for and are guaranteed by the Robert Wood Johnson Barnabas Health System, Rutgers University, Hackensack Meridian, the New Jersey Economic Development Authority, and Middlesex County, for a small piece of it. Those bonds, the reason we've asked the county to participate, and they've agreed, is that all of those entities have all have very good credit ratings, but are slightly different. They're AA, they're AA plus, I think Rutgers maybe we'll see what's the AA. What this allows us to do is to smooth out the credit and issue them all AAA credit. So the county's guarantee is a backstop, and it's actually smoothing out the credit for those, because those large institutions in New Jersey are basically guarantors of the credit. Just again, thank the commissioners, director, myself, all of this. This is a transformational project. We expect that we're going to start, if you start at the bottom, 2,000 construction jobs when we build this building. This building is approximately 527,000 square feet. It is approximately a $740 million investment in medical education, life science research, and entrepreneur startup, particularly in the tech and the life science field. Our economist, eConsult from Philadelphia, has estimated that at this building and spin-offs from this building will create 5,600 jobs in Middlesex County and in the region. It's estimated that this project will bring an additional, in the first 10 years, $800 million of new National Institute of Health and FDA funding to New Brunswick for research in life sciences. It also is estimated that Rutgers will be able to generate over $100 million of new licenses. Those licenses will be the basis for startup of companies that will grow here. One of the things that we have found in the research that we've done in places like Kendall Square, Philadelphia, New York.
Pardon me, Mr. Chair, may I reclaim my time, or do you want to pause the clock? Because I only have 1 minute left to ask about all the resolutions.
Go ahead, I'm sorry, Mr. Thank you for that comment.
My apologies, no disrespect. I do want to say, though, we still have to do something about the supermarket that DevCo built that no one's occupied.
That has nothing to do with this. So speak on this.
You're giving them an endorsement for the next project. Yes, I am, sir. There's no need to be aggressive or combative.
I'm just telling you, speak
I'm
on
just saying,
this.
you're greenlighting the next project of the folks who still have no tenant at the last project you gave all the money to. So that's my piece there. I wanted to ask about 289. Did Commissioner Nara get my emails about this one?
No. This is just on 001, Charlie. You have an opportunity to speak on the other ones.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. I'll be back.
Okay? Thank you. Please state your name and address, and you have 5 minutes, and it's only on resolution 23-001.
Yes, Danielle Morris,
Of course.
Somerset Street, due to where, actually, what building are you talking about? Due to, I know there's quite a few projects going on here in New Brunswick. Which one is this for?
Yes.
It's the first building of the Health and Life Science Exchange. It's in the site where Farradeck was.
Okay.
And it's building H1, so it's the first building, it's bordered French Street and Kirkpatrick Street, and it's approximately 525,000 square feet.
Well, due to where I'm very disappointed to hear that the county, and I will continue, Mr. Ryder was saying, that you're putting this much money into something due to where that's a lot of things you keep putting money into, especially in New Brunswick, you're not making progress. It's becoming a loss. You look at me like that, if I really, when you look at me like that, I'll give you an answer. Quite a few things I'll say that I can lead to that you're not leading to. That was as far as what the almost $5 million, you're looking at me like, ooh, what am I talking about? What, the $5 million debt that you put down to the river and what you had to take it up due to where, what, it didn't work out. So don't look at me like, wow, I'm saying something and then I'm not speaking the truth, or now you're smiling because you know I'm telling the truth. And I know what I'm talking about due to where you investing money.
Let's talk about this, Danielle.
Well, you
And
do
this
want,
is a
but
great project.
don't look at me like that, like how you, like Mr. Cradible said, you show aggression when you don't like to hear the truth, but how you made that
I'm
face,
just telling you-
that face at me like when I said, wow, you're wasting money on certain things. Come on, Rutgers, Robert Wood Johnson, they're the biggest out of the state. They have enough money of their own. And I surely don't see, like I said, with you contributing money to Rutgers as much as they make with these buildings and all. And like I said, due to where it's a disappointment, due to where, same thing with the cancer center. Due to where, wow, so for $750 million, and then you added money onto that, due to where, like I said, what, for $750 million, the cost of these things, wow, why don't you find a cure for that amount instead of beauty with building all these luxury buildings in New Brunswick, but what, it's not making New Brunswick better at all.
This is an educational building. This is going to help people with sickness. This is going to create jobs. This is going to create an opportunity for people from our college, Middlesex College, from our our magnet school, to go there and interact with doctors, nurses, professionals. This is a really good project.
Director?
Yes.
And if I can, as Mr. Palladino said, we're just guaranteeing the bond. And we're not putting money in, we're guaranteeing the bond. There's funds coming in from other spots.
Well, that's a little better to hear because like I said, due to where, about learning certain things, and like I said, being a resident 46 years here, due to where the things that you're saying is not matching up with what I see walking through here every day of what's going on, making progress, due to where, like I said, out of all these buildings in New Brunswick, out of the past 5 years, what, they have a financial situation, it's not making progress, whether it's learning or this and that, due to where you say a lot, but how often do you come to New Brunswick or you even go to city council meetings to see what goes on? So like I said, enough with all these big buildings, especially in regards to Rutgers, where wow, you might as well take the name of the city of New Brunswick and just call this what, Rutgers City, because that's all you and the mayor especially keep caring about, Rutgers and Robert Wood Johnson and not the residents. Surely not happy.
Thank you. Anyone else in the public?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Is there a motion to adopt ordinance number 23-001 on final reading?
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Roll call.
County Commissioner Escobar Barber?
Yes.
County Commissioner Kenny?
Yes.
County Commissioner
Yes.
Popple? County Commissioner McCollum?
Yes.
County Commissioner Nara?
Yes.
County Commissioner Tamara?
Yes.
County Commissioner Director Rios?
Yes. Okay. Clerk.
Notice of this public hearing was published in the Home News Tribune on January 24th, 2023. This public hearing was authorized at a meeting of the Board of County Commissioners on February 2nd, 2023.
Clerk will read ordinance number 466.
County of Middlesex Bond Ordinance Number 466, bond ordinance providing for the Community Innovation and Opportunity Strategic Investment Plan for and by the County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, appropriating the aggregate amount of $85,832,520. Therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $81,540,894 in bonds or notes of the County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, to finance part of and cost thereof, and authorizing a public hearing to be held Thursday, February 16, 2023, at 7:00 p.m., and authorizing publication thereof.
At this time, I declare the public hearing open.
Move to close the public.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Is there a motion to adopt ordinance number 466 on the final reading?
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Roll call.
County Commissioner Escobar Barber?
Yes.
County
Yes.
Commissioner Kenny? County Commissioner Coppell?
Yes.
County Commissioner McCollum?
Yes.
County Commissioner Nara?
Yes.
County Commissioner Tamara?
Yes.
County Commissioner Director Rio?
Yes. Okay. Mr. Kelso, do we have any resolutions to be added?
There are none.
Any resolutions to be amended?
There are none.
Resolutions to be held?
Yes, Director, Resolution 23-291R. This resolution to authorize the services of I Love You Guys Foundation to provide unification training, etc., is to be held pending receipt of additional documents and information from the project.
Is there a motion to hold this resolution?
Second.
Roll call.
County Commissioner Escobar Barber?
Yes.
County
Yes.
Commissioner Kenny? County Commissioner
Yes.
Coppell? County Commissioner McCollum?
Yes.
County Commissioner Nara?
Yes.
County Commissioner Tamara? County Commissioner Director Rio?
Yes. Mr. Kelso, any resolutions to be voided?
There are none.
This time, I'd like to open up the meeting to the public. Any discussion on any resolutions listed only? State your name and address, and you have 5 minutes.
Good evening, once again, Charlie Prattville, New Brunswick today. I'm going to start with 229 on page 9. This is a resolution for Code Blue. I want to thank the county for stepping up and stepping in to provide a grant to the city of New Brunswick to support the Code Blue program. Unfortunately, despite the grant funding, it's still continued to be marred with some unfortunate realities, not being maintained properly, policies not being followed, and unfortunately the city's reaction to learning of these things was to ban volunteers and end their volunteer program because it was the volunteers who were reporting some of these problems to the city council. I want to understand this item on the agenda because I recall just a couple meetings ago, this 90,000 being on there. Is this another 90,000 or is this another step in the process for the grant? Can I learn a little bit about the procedure?
A few meetings ago, we had money on the agenda that was specifically for the city of Fort Amboy. This is the first one that's for New Brunswick. They submit the application towards the end. I believe they were submitted in September, October, so this has only got their finalized information back to formalize the resolution. So it's just the 90,000.
Okay, I do recall the New Brunswick one being on a recent agenda, but this is for the current year. And does the county have any idea how much of the 90,000 has been spent already, or we won't know until they
We
start?
won't know until they send the bills in, but they estimate that the cost for their operation is about $1,000 a night. There's been about 56 Code Blues so far this season, so I would estimate about 56,000.
Thank you for that info, that's helpful to know. And yeah, I am concerned that the 90,000 might not be enough, given that, now they're staffing with paid staff every night, and I understand they've hired people to accomplish that. So I'm concerned that the 90,000 might not be enough, even if they're able to keep up the overnight, whenever it's freezing standard. That also is not enough. And I've unfortunately learned that sometimes people are turned away despite the place being open. If they have more than 29 guests, they cannot accommodate them, and they, my understanding, tell them to take a hike to downtown New Brunswick where they can sleep on a police department bench if they want. But, obviously there's a demand for the service if there's some nights that they're turning people away from the main location. And I had thought they had a better secondary location with a transportation plan, but it turns out what the users are telling me, the clients are telling me, is that they're not. They're being told that they're full up. Take a hike.
Probably any concerns with the amount of funding. We have been in conversation with New Brunswick that if they had any kind of increased costs that they saw in terms of laundering or things like that at some of their facilities, that they should come to us with that request. So we have been working with the city in that in case they do need additional dollars. And if anybody is turned away because they're at capacity, the individual should be contacting 211 because on a code blue night, they're guaranteed shelter. So through the state homeless hotline, they should be placed for shelter if the code blue locations are full.
And I think the staff should be educated to tell folks that and assist them in calling 211, because not everybody has the ability to do that. But thank you for the thorough answers. And I'll move on to 289. Did Commissioner Nara get my email today? I wanted to know who's being appointed.
289?
Yes.
Charlie, I have a list, I can give it to you, okay? But I think what you do need to understand, and Mr. Chris is here and he can back me up on any details, but the majority of the members of this particular council are Middlesex County employees because they're in different roles throughout the county and OEM and all the different departments. And the other people are from service groups who work with us, and we're happy to give you a complete list, okay?
Cool.
So,
Yeah,
we
I
need to
appreciate
get
that. And, you know, just going forward, it's helpful to have that information before the hearing, because right now I can't give you any input if I think any of the names on that list are really good names or really bad names to include on this committee. I have no way of knowing because you haven't publicized the names. I see some of the items where you're appointing one or two people to a commission. You name them here, that just says the membership. So I wrote in today to try to get the list beforehand, but I wasn't able to. So going forward, I think it'd be helpful to publicize that or just share the full resolution and make that available. And then finally, I have to complain again about the secrecy with the prosecutor's office. Number 300, 2 members of the MCPO attending a Veterans Response Team training. That happened in January. Why is it a secret which 2 members of
Time's
the
up.
MCPO did that?
It's for confidentiality of the investigators that work there. Thank you.
Makes no sense.
Anyone else in the public?
Zero.
Please state your name and address, and you have 5 minutes to speak on resolutions listed only.
Hi, yes, Danielle Moore, 229, due to, as far as the code blue of New Brunswick, I will speak with same thing with Mr. Carterville, due to where this was listed on resolution before, and that was when I questioned the difference between where it said 129,000 for Port Amboy and the other part 90,000 for New Brunswick. So like I said, due to where I'm trying to understand why is this listed again, and that was where I sent in the question to compare the difference from Code Blue with New Brunswick and Perth Amboy. So like I said, it was on the resolution before. That's when you got back to me explaining the differences, emailing me.
The resolution last time was strictly Perth Amboy. I can get the agenda for you.
I'll bring the
But
paper,
that's fine.
back
But
to you and show you.
But in the questions that were asked, they asked about New Brunswick, and I provided information that we were in the process of finishing their contracts.
So you're saying that that you did not put $92,000 on a resolution on New
We
Brunswick
did not. This is
before?
the first resolution this year for Code Blue for New Brunswick for this season.
Okay, like I said, I know it was listed before, and that's when I had questioned you. I have to look at the date. It's been about a month and a half ago, and I was telling you due to when that was when I told you, wow, please investigate. When I told you to look in to see what was going on over there with Mr. Jones, he wasn't doing properly, and I told you about with all the dirty laundry over there, and I told you, and like I said with the recording, that's when I said, wow, please go listen to the city council recording with President Council Member Escobar, due to where she spoke at the city council, due to where she went over there to the Code Blue Center, and she investigated it herself, and like I said, due to where, let's not say that this wasn't on the resolution before, and I spoke to you about the investigation. I will get the paperwork and I will show you, because like I said, it's not being properly done, and due to where, sad to say, with the cost of living, wow, I'm in an apartment by myself just to keep warm, only one person, $264 for PSE&G. Pray you don't have more people going out to the streets due to where you had people protesting with the cost of living last night at city council meeting, due to where what? Come on. I appreciate your help, but is New Brunswick make sure New Brunswick is doing the right thing with it? Because like I said, as a person due to where I basically know, I'm well known throughout New Brunswick. I talk to a lot of the homeless, and like I said, due to where I had already told you, investigate, due to where Mr. Jones, and I've been saying it for who knows how long, investigate what's going on, and that was where, what you keep thinking he's doing such a good job, but like I said, after council member went over there to see what was going on, proper water wasn't working, dirty sheets, and due to where, I'm really thinking due to where this is put back on here, due to where it's a change now, due to where it's not volunteer. After the people spoke up about all the nastiness over there, it's like they don't want them over there now. So the 4 members that they're hiring for Code Blue, city workers who work for them already, but not honest to tell you what's going on over there. Please, like I said, I want the best for people, but like I said, please, let's not speak on giving money to somebody who's not using it the proper way. And believe me, like I said, please, and I say it so many times, just listen to the city council tape and you will hear what went on. And far as due to where I appreciate your help with Section 8 and all, due to where that's 224, but like I said, prayers for all of your help with the cash that you do help out with people, prayer that it doesn't lead to people on the street due to where, now the price spike of rent 2.8 up to 5.5 now, then water, then like I said, all these projects being done, gonna lead to more homeless. I'm like, wow, I'm on disability. I pay $2,000 a month, like I said, just for one person. I'm like, wow. So I know it's getting hard for me, and it's even getting hard for people who is working. But come on, with the cost of living that you just said with your budget, how you had to raise your budget because of the cost of living. Think about what the people who are on the street do to how it's going to be harder for them as well. But like I said, please, I hope you really take the time, just like she took the time to President Escobar took the time to investigate you investigate on the 90,000, please.
Thank you. Please state your name and address, and you can only speak on any resolutions listed on the agenda.
Thank you. Good evening, commissioners and members of the public. My name is Alexandria Harris. I'm a resident of Sayreville, New Jersey. Before I address a specific resolution number, can I also ask questions about the budget?
Not now.
Okay. I would also like to second the comments made by Ms. Danielle and Mr. Charlie Prattville. I would like to specifically talk about 23229. I would like to say that I appreciate the funds allocated towards COBU. This is a very important program, but as my peers have stated, this is not enough money. I understand that Middlesex County contributes to this program, but in other parts of New Jersey, there are shelters that are open 24/7, and we need to look to expand shelters to be open at 24/7 within the county. Code Blue can only be open in New Brunswick when the county says so. We've had really bad weather. Now today's been awfully warm, which is odd. But overall, I do want to push on the idea that we need to have shelters that are open 24/7, and that $90,000 from November to April is not enough money. Also, I want to highlight that there aren't any laundry services. There's only one laundry service available once a month called the Laundry Love Program, and that's available at Christ Church once a month. People who are homeless, they don't have a closet to store their clothes. They don't have a washing and drying machine on demand. They don't have access to laundromats because they don't have money sometimes. And if they don't have a lot of clothes, that means their clothes get dirty very quickly. Within a matter of a day, 2, 3, laundry needs to be open at least once a week, if not every day. So I would like to ask the county commissioners to please consider contributing financially if you're not going to support with staffing and opening another site for laundry. Please expand on the laundry services available as well as consider opening up shelters that are 24/7. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Please state your name and address, and you have 5 minutes to speak on any resolutions listed on the agenda.
Good evening. My name is Nadav Warshnowski. I'm currently residing at 615 George Street, New Brunswick. I'd like to speak on the same resolution, 23-229R. And I'll start with a little anecdote. About 2 days ago, I was walking through the streets of New Brunswick, and I noticed a woman crying on the street. She seemed distraught. Excuse me. And so I was on my way to an academic commitment, but I stopped and I asked her, "Are you all right? What's going on?" And she was saying that she had just gone to sit down inside a building and tried to pull out some technology to do some work, and she was escorted out by an officer. And she said she found it humiliating. She's homeless, and she has nowhere to go to sit down. I said, "Oh, I'm sorry. Like, are you parched right now? You look like a little bit tired. Can I get you some water?" She said, "No. Like, if I drink water, like, I'll need to go pee. Nowhere around here is going to let me use their bathroom. I don't want to pee myself. I don't want to have to pee in public." And so, like, I'm sitting there, I'm talking to her, and I eventually had to leave to go to my academic commitment. But I was able to get in contact with her again, and we were trying to talk to her about maybe getting services, like shelter care. And she explained that her experience at the shelter was at best disrespectful. She felt disrespected, at worst she felt unsafe, and that she was frustrated and distrustful and didn't really know what to make of social services. And so me and my friend didn't want her sitting out in the cold that night, so we were able to put some money that we had put together to getting her a motel for the night and getting her Uber there. But we don't have money to do that again. And so I too would like to push for expanding the budget we're putting to access for shelters, because as great as the officers we honored at the beginning of this meeting, as great as it was that they did those things, I think it would be far more impactful and far more proactive if we had somebody who, instead of just walking her out of the building when they thought that she wasn't allowed there because she looked homeless, she is, it would be far more effective if somebody had taken her hand the same way that me and my friend tried to do. At the end of the 2 days of work we put into our new homeless friend, she seemed a little bit more open to the idea of getting help from social services, but maybe if we had invested in the sort of worker or the sort of care or the sort of shelter services that would take her hand the same way, we would have those homeless people overall. Maybe able to have a home. And so, thank you for your time, and I hope that you consider expanding the budget for this issue, 2329 R.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Motion to close the public portion.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Any commissioner have to vote on anything separately?
Yes.
Okay. I have a self-record. 23-180R.
I have several, Director.
Okay.
23209R, involving the Puerto Rican Action Board. 23273R, involving New Jersey Transit. 23274R, once again involving New Jersey Transit. And 23275, involving New Jersey Transit.
What's the last one?
275.
275. Okay, Mr. Kelso.
Yes, Director, a motion would then be in order to adopt a consent agenda consisting of resolution numbers 23-188 to resolution 23-301, excluding resolution 23-236, which was previously voted upon, resolution 23-291 to be held, and resolutions 23-188, 23-209, 23-273, 23-274, and 23-275 to be voted upon separately.
Is there a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Roll call.
County Commissioner Escobar Barber?
Yes.
County
Yes.
Commissioner Kenny? County Commissioner
Yes.
Apple? County Commissioner McCollum?
Yes.
County Commissioner Nara?
Yes.
County Commissioner Tamara?
Yes.
County Commissioner Director Rio?
Yes.
Now, Director, would be appropriate to consider the resolution excluded by Commissioner McCollum, and that's resolution 23-188.
Is there a motion to adopt?
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Roll call.
County Commissioner Escobar Barber?
Yes.
County Commissioner
Yes.
Kenny? County Commissioner
Yes.
Apple? County Commissioner McCollum?
Present, but abstain.
County Commissioner Nara?
Yes.
County Commissioner Tamara?
Yes.
County Commissioner Director Rio?
Yes.
And finally, Director, it would be appropriate to consider the resolutions excluded by Commissioner Deputy Director Nara. Those resolutions 23-209, 23-273, 23-274, and 23-275.
Is there a motion to adopt?
Second.
Roll call.
County Commissioner Escobar Barber?
Yes.
County
Yes.
Commissioner Kenny? County Commissioner Copple? County Commissioner McCollum?
Yes.
County Commissioner Nara?
Present but not voting.
County Commissioner Tamara?
Yes.
County Commissioner Director.
Yes. This time I open up the meeting to the public. Anyone have any comments? Please state your name and address, and you have 5 minutes.
Hi, yes, Danielle Moore. First thing I would like to speak on something, a different subject tonight due to where, and I also brought it up at city council meeting, due to where some of you who don't know me or never known me, I've proven to, and that's why I thank God bless Mr. Ron Sanders for working with me, due to where I do have special vision, due to where the Lord shows me visions. He leads me to warnings on certain occasions. I proved it to the city and county before. And for example, I would tell you one thing. For example, due to where how 2021 you had 10 street lights out on Livingston Avenue before the project was done, where it's recorded how I kept saying, fix Livingston and Handy's, fix Livingston and Handy for 3 months, due to where, wow, and what happened? Due to where man has got killed there, he got hit right there, almost hit to the next spot. But I just wanted to show an example to some of you that don't know me. And I will tell you the last thing where it happened also as well that I've been speaking on. Please, the county and the city needs to get together in operating more vehicles with Robert Wood Johnson ambulance due to where 125 Patterson Street, even though it's in New Brunswick, but it covers with County, Highland Park, and North Brunswick. Please, let's start working on another building due to where getting more vehicles with all these apartments, these complexes that you're adding to. It's not enough emergency service, and due to where I will tell you, like I said, the thing that I kept saying was, oh, please, if it takes an ambulance, 15 to 25 minutes to get through New Brunswick to help someone, and I kept saying, oh, how long do you think it's going to take to get the Rutgers Village to save someone? Wow, that was 2 weeks ago, but man, he died right there in the car crash over there, due to where it took an ambulance so long, but the CPR, and believe me, the article was up there, due to where crashed right by the beginning of Rutgers Village, and like I said, please, think about that. Like I said, when the Lord tells me something, just like I told you, how I moved, the Lord showed me that my mom was going to collapse. It happened. It's nothing that I wish on. It's what I've been touched to do. Did it happen? Yes, it did happen. And like I said, one thing, and I surely it's on recording, please, work on something with getting more emergency vehicles due to where, especially here in New Brunswick, due to where you have so many pickups with drugs and alcohol related in New Brunswick, and you don't have enough service for medical. Please, now that's one thing that I surely keep mentioning to the city council, but when you got people who don't take things seriously, it's very sad. When it costs somebody their life. It's not the first time. Like I said, I have plenty of records with videos recalling how long it takes a police car or ambulance. And I will say, God bless to those wonderful officers with Woodbridge. And what did you heard me when I said them going out the door? Wow, please teach New Brunswick some of your service. I'm getting very disappointed. A lot of people speaking up about that at City Council. What is New Brunswick Police Department getting paid to sit on their ass due to where so many things is going on in here? Please, like I said, congratulations to them officers. Go teach New Brunswick the same thing. After hearing Mr. Crowder, go thank him with the information. Wow, to find out what our officers are breaking the law, drinking, where one of our officers just got caught drinking on the job, and he got suspended 8 days. But please, come on. Like I said, due to where you think New Brunswick is so good with all these buildings, I've been here 46 years, never been this much crime, garbage, motor vehicle crashes every day, the drugs, the homeless, never like this. That's because it's time for where I keep saying, due to where you keep saying your time is up to me so much. Honestly, I want to say the same thing to you, but I know if I do say it to you, I know what's going to happen, even though it's time for you and your buddy Mayor Cahill to go because you're not doing the proper stuff. And like I said, due to where I wish we we had more people like Mr. Ron Sanders who communicates and makes sure the things that are right. And I would thank you once again due to where I just thanked him on the way coming here where, wow, I speak to him about a situation that's with French and Eastern Avenue due to where, like I said, what I'm seeing, and I'm still scared for it, but like I said, he's working progress to try to make things get better, where he put up a sign due to where the cars do not respect pedestrians coming through there, and like I said, why? That's because, like I said, you can do whatever you want in New Brunswick, and New Brunswick Police Department not doing anything.
Time is up, thank you.
Well, at least you said it nicer this time.
Your time is up.
You said it nicer.
Thank you for your comments. Next, please, state your name and address, and you have 5 minutes.
Good evening, Alexandria Harris, Sarah Lynn, New Jersey.
Can you speak a little closer to the microphone, maybe a little louder, please?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Is that better?
Yes.
Okay. Alexandria Harris, Sarah from New Jersey. I would like to just reiterate again that Code Blue should be open, get rid of Code Blue and have the shelters open 24/7. I would like to also take a moment to regurgitate some issues that I've pointed in the past. One, please support more public transit. My question is about the Department of Transportation. Are we, I understand there's $11 million allocated for repair of the roads, but how much is being used to put in more schedule times, put in more paths? As we're developing, we're housing more people, which is great, and we get an educational center, great. But how are people getting there? How are people getting to work? How are people getting to the parks? I can't go to the Edison Park and go skating like I used to as a kid when my parents drove me. I can't, even though that's like a 15-minute drive. There's just no realistic way for me to take the train and bus for a 2-hour drive to spend like an hour there by the time I get there and then have to come back. So I just wanted to know, are we expanding the county lines to supplement the state lines?
I can tell you this, that Commissioner Kenny had a meeting with one of the department heads that's in charge of the transportation. He's going through a transition now. Mr. Kenny, Commissioner Kenny, if you'd like to elaborate a little more.
Yeah, so we're working, and I know Charlie's brought this up before, we're working, what happened was our transportation department head, Solomon left. And so we have Khalid, and Khalid on top of everything else is trying to come up to speed on that. And so we're working on New Brunswick, but not just New Brunswick, also trying to get enough data in to figure out what's needed, what other ways we can deliver ride shares, and
Ride shares like an Uber service, or ride shares isn't like a bus or shuttle?
different ways, different modes of transportation that are out there. We're going to look at all of them and see what's available. And but first, we got to come up with the numbers and exactly where the demand is.
Okay. Solomon's been in this position for 2 years, and I haven't seen any increase in public transportation.
Well, we were shut down for COVID, and we do transportation now. Stanley, how do we provide transportation now? I know that there's on demand.
Yes, that's correct. There's an on-demand service that seniors and disabled can use.
I'm not senior or disabled,
No, I understand, but we do have
I would like to,
transportation going. And so,
Right.
as we were coming out of COVID, Solomon was working to come up with exactly what we were looking at, what different types of modes of transportation are out there, whether it be transit or others, and that's basically where we're at. And now Khalid is working to try and get the information that's there, look into it, and see what we can come up with as far as transportation goes.
Yeah, you could double the schedule of the county lines and increase the amount of county lines so you have more coverage. That's a suggestion. I'd like to move on to another item I'd like to bring up. I would like to ask the commissioners to please consider putting the Woodbridge Power Plant on your next agenda for you to put a vote on it. 12 government bodies have voted and took a stance against the Woodbridge Power Plant. I understand, as you've said it in the past, that you are not the decision makers, but you still hold influence on this power plant. Yesterday, Governor Murphy made a statement at Rutgers University Winans Hall that is pushing the timeline for New Jersey to depend on clean energy from 2050 to 2035. This Woodbridge Power Plant and the other 6 other proposals across the state, including the PSC or PVCS plant in Newark, and the NJ Transit Plan do not align with the governor's plan. You as county commissioners can join the Somerset County Commissioners and take a stance against the plan. I, again, would like to ask you to please consider putting this on your next agenda and hold a vote on it. I also wanted to talk about my experience having social worker. So I do know the woman that my peer Nadav has mentioned who is understandably against getting social worker because of the lag time. You have to wait several months to get any kind of assistance. I waited 2 weeks to get a heater, a small heater, like about 10 inches in diameter, when my heater broke. I've had a social worker as a child, as a former foster youth. I've had please increase the social worker services. Thank you.
Next. Please state your name and address, and you have 5 minutes.
My name is Nadav Warshawski. I'm residing in New Brunswick. I guess I suppose I would like to also echo my support for expanding social services and also for a symbolic resolution against the Woodbridge power plant. I know that there was, you have to forgive me for forgetting the details, but I know there was previously a power plant in North Jersey that was, that there was opposition amongst many townships in its construction, so they all signed on to a collective statement, essentially a petition as a collection of townships to stop the construction of the power plant, and that was effective in halting construction permanently. So I too would like to echo that I would like for you to put that, consider that one for your next agenda. Thirdly, I just wanted to say, as somebody attending my first county commissioners meeting, I just find the format of this agenda not very easy to follow, and it's hard for me as a resident here to participate in this process, not always understanding what's being talked about, or the organization of the meeting, or what's going on in the budget pamphlet, in terms of like the word expense doesn't appear here, so it's confusing. Like, oh, what actually is money being spent on versus how's money being raised? So I hope that you can take that into consideration in making it a little bit more accessible for somebody trying to be civically engaged, civically active. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner,
Yes.
what I would suggest as well, obviously there's the public meeting, but at any point in time you have any questions, you can just call the clerk's office. We're willing to address any questions relative to budget or any items on my resolution. So, though this is one form, obviously through either phone calls or digital, we'll be more than willing to address any questions you may have regarding the operations of the county.
Thank you.
We're open from 8 to 4:15.
Okay. I will add that the more hoops to jump through, the harder it is to.
Like I said, you won't find that here. As soon as you get the questions to us, we'll get responses to you.
Thank you.
Please state your name and address, and you have 5 minutes.
Good evening, once again, Charlie Cradaville, New Brunswick today. Appreciate the prior speakers and their questions, and I guess got a little bit of an update on the transportation situation, but I'll echo what was said and reiterate that New Brunswick needs more public transportation. We have less right now than we did when the pandemic hit 3 years ago, and there's no excuse for it. I don't care if there's a personnel change. There's got to be transit for the people who need it, and every day, week, month that goes by without it, we're not living our best life. We're not enabling people to get by without a car, and we're not giving people a good experience here in Middlesex County. So I hope that you'll take that to heart and act soon to restore the service that was taken away from us. Is there any update on when the Transportation Coordinating Committee might return to active meetings?
Commissioner.
Again, being worked on, looking to see exactly what the focus is of the board and how we can best utilize that in the future.
Okay, so no timeline. This year?
At this moment, no time. I'm not saying that there might not be one in a few months, but right now, no time.
Okay. And I appreciate the dialogue, but it's inexcusable. We need to have that committee active. We need to have the transportation restored that is taken away. And if we want to develop something better, that's great too. But we can't just get by without what we've come to appreciate here.
Just Charlie, if I could, some of the activities that the board was involved in is currently going on through government liaisons and conversations and more of an open dialogue with various government agencies. So some of it's being met, but yes, the goal is to see exactly how we can best utilize that.
Yeah, I think it's critical to bring in the public, so I may not be your favorite member of the public, but I would attend those kinds of meetings if I were allowed and invited. So please feel free to spread the word if there's something I can be a part of, because I care about this issue and I feel that I can help on it. I also want to ask for an update on the aforementioned supermarket space that the county has agreed to rent from the parking authority, the former fresh grocer.
Yeah, at this point, as you know, we are not paying any further rent.
But you do plan to start?
Not at this point in time.
Okay, because the parking authority just hired somebody to do demolition to get the space ready for you. What's the
We're working with the parking authority to look at the appropriate use, and since the need that we have may have changed, we're going to work with them to make sure that they address, and I'm sure with the opportunities that with the development that's going on with the new innovation hub, we're working closely with LWJ and Rutgers. I'm very confident that space will be used.
Confident that someone will take up the former supermarket?
That's great.
Okay, well, it sounds like perhaps the plan is changing, and I'm glad to hear that, because I don't think the county prosecutor's office even needed additional space, but that would not be a good space for them to take up, as it is prime real estate in downtown New Brunswick. And speaking of law enforcement, I have to ask the commissioners if you have any response to the annual major discipline reporting forms that were filed by the sheriff and the corrections department. Have you seen them, or are you aware of the discipline?
What, Charlie?
So it's a new thing, but every year these law enforcement agencies, including the corrections department, have to disclose officers who have been subject to major discipline. So just a couple from the sheriff's list is officers Elena Rivera and Raymond Smith suspended for 15 days for allowing an inmate to escape their custody. Rafael Morales resigned in bad standing after a domestic violence incident where he struck his girlfriend while having a verbal altercation and was arrested and charged with aggravated assault. Joshua Padilla terminated. Officer Padilla was arrested and convicted for producing, distributing, and possessing child pornography. Officer Padilla had sex with a minor in Pennsylvania. He reported it and published it on the website. And yeah, those are just some of the items on that report. I wanted to ask if you, sir, or your colleagues have any comment on these revelations.
Thank you for your comments.
Time's
We're not making any comments. Your time is up. Thank you.
One of the
Your time is
commissioners
up.
wanted to.
Your time is up.
I
Thank
think
you.
one of the commissioners.
Anyone else in the public?
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Meeting adjourned.